Okay, welcome to another prepared flight simulator video. And this video is a direct continuation of the last video I did where we took off from an airport in Austria and we're flying to another airport in Italy, doing just a scenic flight, flying over the mountains here, just real pretty view of the world. This was a flight that was suggested by one of the people that saw some of my other videos where I'm kind of flying around, checking out different parts of the world. I'd mentioned in some of them videos how much I like flying through the mountains, and somebody said, well, hey, check out this flight, it's really cool. Take off from Austria, and fly to LIMC, and you'll enjoy the view along the way. So I thought I would do that. But the flight, a little bit longer than some of them other ones. It's 140 nautical miles, I believe it was, total. So we had to take off and fly down the mountain range a little bit because there were steep cliffs on the left and the right, so we couldn't turn to our target heading right away. We had to fly down through the valley a little bit. That was pretty cool. And then once we got down out away from those sheer cliffs on either side, then we were able to turn toward our target and continue flying through these mountains. It's been a really nice view all the way. So now we're picking back up from that flight, just a direct continuation of that flight. We're only 46 nautical miles at this point away from the airport, so we'll be getting there fairly shortly, and then hopefully we'll be able to set up and actually land. I've seemed to have a lot of problems landing on camera. I'm not even sure why that is. I land the Delta Glider and the XR2 and the Vanguard all the time while still recording and talking, but I don't know, for some reason it seems to require more concentration or something to land regular airplanes in a flight sim, because I sure have been having a hard time doing that. But we will see if we have some success with that here shortly. I've also been trying to figure out what some of these symbols mean on the GPS, and I think I've kind of figured out this blue one. It appears to be a line of delineation, sort of a demarcation point where the elevation changes significantly, because it looks to me, if you notice here, this blue line kind of goes like that, and it also seems to coincide with where the mountains are going to suddenly come to an abrupt stop. And then if you look out at the horizon, everything is much flatter once we get out. If we were to fly a little bit here to the left, we would be out into this flat area. And that seems to be basically what this blue line's indicating, is, like a sudden change in elevation or something. So we have a nice look at some of these mountainous lakes. Very cool. And these clouds look really nice in this simulator. Look down here, you don't really see like a bunch of boxy pixelation or anything like that, and they look very, very believable. And if we want, we can take a brief look outside just to see what our plane looks like from the external view, and that's fine to do that because we currently have the various autopilots enabled so that it will keep us on track, on course rather, and elevation wise as well. But we will be descending here shortly, because once we get to the other side of these cliffs, there's no point in being as high as we are, and clearly we'll have to descend a bit to get to whatever airport we're headed toward. I don't know the elevation of the airport. I can probably look it up on the GPS. So let's start thinking about that, because we're not too far away. We're only 33 nautical miles out at this point. So let's tilt our camera over here to the GPS, and let me see if I can find some information about the airport. Let's see here, procedures maybe. Well, I don't really see here where it tells us what the altitude of the airport is, but we'll eyeball it. We'll figure it out when we get there. Let's see if we can set up an approach. So vectors, actually back one. Then here, yeah. So we don't have a GPS approach as an option. Let's see, let's go down the list. Okay, so we're just not going to do that. Let's clear, and procedures to turn that off. Alright, so we're just going to eyeball it VFR style. Let's go ahead and descend a little bit though. We're at 15.5 and we don't need to be this high up anymore, I don't believe. So I'm going to throttle back a little bit as we descend so we don't overspeed the craft. And we're going to bring the altitude down to 10, and we'll see what that looks like when we get there. If we're still really high up as compared to the surrounding terrain, or or if it looks like we're too low or whatever, we'll see. Let me increase the descent though. Currently the autopilot's set to 100 or 1,000 feet per minute, it looks like. So let's increase that just a little bit. If I can, it's well, I'm clicking the increase vertical speed, but it's not helping for whatever reason, so we won't worry about that either. We'll just descend here, and we are only 19 nautical miles out from the airport, so it should come into view at some point. I'm not sure, how far out 19 is. I think this large spot here is probably just 3 to 5 nautical miles, so 19 is probably farther out. I don't think that's the airport. No, it's not. That's LILM. So we've still got to go out beyond that one. And we're just kind of coming down through, through the altitude here. Take a look outside and maybe pan the camera back around that way. We can see where we came from. Yeah, all that stuff. So we're descending out. Back inside, and let's kind of start thinking about landing here. Only 15 nautical miles to go. Actually, maybe that is the airport that we're landing at, because it looks like LILN. It looks like we're almost on top of that, so that must be just a smaller grass strip that's like right below us. We definitely need to descend some more, so let's reduce our altitude a little bit more. Only about 10 nautical miles to go. Okay, I'm actually going to turn off the altitude hold at this point and just reduce the throttle, because I'm thinking this must be the destination, because we are only 10 nautical miles away. Yeah, LIMC. Yep, that's it. Okay. Alright, so let's turn the autopilot off completely just by pressing the Z button. And take over manual control. See which way the winds are out of. Winds are out of the west. So it looks to me like we're best if we land, you know, here. Alright, so let's bank out this way. Kind of get in front of the runways a little bit. Got to lose some altitude anyway. I think that will be sufficient. A little more down elevator to get down a little faster. Watch the airspeed so we don't overspeed. And again, even though this is indicating that we are overspeeding, if we look at our backup gauges over here, we can tell that we're not. We're going a little fast, but we're not overspeeding. Take a look at the airport over there. And I'm going to bank out a little bit and kind of do a 180 because we're pretty close to the airport. And we need to slow down quite a bit. Don't think we can even put the flaps down until we are quite a bit slower than this. Actually, come to think of it, with the winds being out of the west, we actually want to land kind of facing the direction that we are now, so we want to land on the other runway. So let's bank around. So we have the airport in sight, which it should be coming into view very shortly, because there's that bend that I recall seeing in the river. Okay, there's the airport. Yeah, okay, so winds are out of, let's just call it 270. So we want to land facing 270. So we need to fly down a bit this way. Bringing up the throttle a little bit. That's a big drop there. We're all the way down to 1,700. So coming down out of those mountains, it's a big drop. Okay, let me adjust my elevator trim wheel a bit so we don't descend anymore. So we're going to fly to the other side. You know what? It doesn't seem right to me. I think we want to land here. Because we're facing, you know, we're a little crosswind, but if we go to the other side, we're going to be, more of the wind is going to be at our tail. So I think we want to land here. Alright, let's go around. This is terrible, and I don't want to crash again. Well, actually... Actually, here we go. And we made it down. For a change. It's pulling really hard to the right. We'll turn on the brakes here. Well, definitely not a landing to be proud of, or at least not an approach to be proud of. Well, let's take a quick look at the replay so you can see how indecisive I was there at the end. Go to Options, Instant Replay, and we'll put it in for 100 seconds. Let me change to a different mode because that default mode is really bad. So I think here's where I decided to abort. I think I raised the landing gear and then decide, well, on second thought, we're okay. Yeah, there's the abort. And I'm feeling a little bit better about the alignment, so I decided to put the landing gear back down and let's just go for it. I guess the reason it was pulling so hard to the right was because my heading was very, very much to the right. Alright, well, that is the end of that flight. We actually got a plane down successfully for once. If you liked the video, like the video. If you dislike the video, dislike the video. And if you like the content in general, please do subscribe to the channel so that you can be notified when I upload new videos. Primarily on this channel, I do Orbiter 2010 videos, spaceflight simulator, but I'm also interested in, just flying around in planes as well. I actually got started in simulators in flight sims, and I didn't find out about space simulators until much later. So just lately, I've been kind of going back to my roots, so to speak, and playing around a little bit with the flight sims, but once again, my primary interest is definitely the space simulator, so that's most of the content that I have on this channel and will have going forward. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.